What's dangerous is when the universe pick you and you put on the magic glasses. There's rules that go with them. You can never take them off. You never see things that they're supposed to be. You see things as they are. And you can never force nobody else to wear them.
I think while I lie awake and contemplate tonight are wearing me out. Well, maybe tomorrow the world will wake and get it right, but I have my doubts, yeah. During the day, well, I design machines of war that scream through the sky. 'Cause I, for one, I like to go to bed free at night under these stars and stripes. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. Yes, I have my doubts, but they'll wind you up and pull the cord until you're spun right out. And I don't understand. Roll the dice and raise the price to feed the machine's mouth. Call it the progress of man. And I have my doubt that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts. And I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. I have my doubts, so I'll drink my stuff and raise some hell and shoot my guns to the end of my time. You can have the booze and go to hell and take the guns, but I know they won't be mine. We're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back up. Yes, I have my doubts. So we're all messed up and out of touch. Let's text someone who's in the other room. So don't wonder why we don't say hi or know anyone. I might as well move to the moon. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm things I think while I lie awake and contemplate at night are wearing me out.
Good evening. Hope everybody is doing okay. I'm feeling much better with my pyramid of monitors back. I I really did not like that layout. I guess it would be cool for Flight Sim if that worked for you, but it didn't work for me. And man, it just takes up way too much real estate on the desk, and it, to be honest, takes up too much movement. It's just much easier being able to just bounce up and around and be able to see monitors than having to completely turn your head from one side to the other, essentially. So makes it a lot. It streamlines my workflow if I were to put it in some type of productive terms. Anyway, what? Get off my back, yo. Okay, what are you bitching about now? Please use a keyframe frequency of 4 seconds or less. I thought I already took care of that, homie. Alright, well. I'll have to beat it with a hammer. Something in my settings that I didn't get set back correctly when I set everything back up. I think I am about there. I kind of had to take a pause on getting the computer stuff all back in order and all good to go. Because my phone came today, and that has been like, since I got it, I've been doing non-stop updates and putting this in and that in, and I love the phone though. That's the good thing. That thing is just absolutely remarkable as far as speed and all of that. But man, did I have a lot of operating system updates when I got it. But anyway, I think it's updated. I think I got most of the stuff, I need on it. And most of the accounts signed into and all that good stuff. It seems like it takes forever. It feels like it does. I got that done. I got the rudder pedals at my feet, and they're actually plugged in, but I haven't even used them yet. Still haven't used the flight stick either. It's ready to go. Software's all installed. Everything's ready to go. I just, tomorrow, first order of business is I have to figure out how I can set this stuff up, because the rudder pedals, they're pretty lightweight. And they will scoot across the floor pretty easily. So you have to do something to mitigate that. And then I'm trying to figure out something so I don't have to put my flight stick and throttle up on top of the table, because that's about 3 or 4 inches too high. I mean, as in way too high. So I've got a plan, man. I just have to make it happen. So going to start out tomorrow, work on that. My goal being that by tomorrow evening I'll be able to fly with the new flight stick, rudder pedals, the whole 9 yards. And then I'll be ready to fly. And then it's going to be some serious fun. So I am looking forward to that. I haven't even gotten to play a round of golf for 2 days. I was thinking about that earlier. I might play a round after the show. I got to make gummies again tonight, so I might make those and maybe partake in some gummies and then play a round of golf. That might be fun. Let's see. As far as news is concerned, I don't know. Maybe some people might come here for things like that. I don't know why, but I almost certainly never have news. Anyway, I don't have a lot of headlines open tonight, a lot of articles open. I've got 5 open. 4 of them in the same direction, and it ain't good, homie. And then the last one is just more craziness happening in the world. Now, it's another one of those days that I could have put up a whole lot more if I wanted to, but a lot of it's just going back over the same old stuff or propaganda back and forth kind of stuff. You'll see it when I read the headlines. You'll see it. I didn't think that it garnered bringing the article up and speaking on it, so I figured I'd make it kind of an easy night. It's my Friday. I want to take advantage of that. I want to get these gummies made. I want to maybe play a round of golf if I feel up to it, and then probably get to bed so that tomorrow I can get up and get started on this project. So I have no idea how I'm going to pull it off yet. I have some ideas. I have some stuff, but I don't know if I'll have enough to be able to pull it off and complete it. But I'll try. I will try. Even if I have to go and, I don't know, take the neighbor's fence down or something for some wood, that'll work. Hey, that is where I could get wood. That ought to work, right? Will you go out there and grab me a few pieces of wood off the fence? That'd be hilarious. Anyway, don't want Jen to get arrested for grand theft fence, because that's, or would that be fencing? That would be a fencing charge, wouldn't it? That'd be a fencing, or maybe a defencing charge, something like that. Anyway, I gotta get it figured out. I've got ideas. I just, like I said, don't know if I've got everything that I can whip something up together. So, other than that, I tried keeping up on news as it came in. Obviously, the financial, everything, not just the markets, it's everything, is, well, to put it quite bluntly, a clusterfuck. That's pretty much what our banking system and our economy and all of that is right now. Not good. And I'm not a money guy. I don't know very much about it. But I can tell when we've got banks left and right that are closing up, and we've got all these other nations that are starting to get away from the U.S. dollar as like a reserve currency. And then beyond that, people trading around the dollar, whether it be for sanctions or just because that's what the country wants. Very, very interesting stuff. I'm peeking. There we go. I am peeking, which has totally different context than many, many, many years ago when I'd take a hit of acid. Totally different peak than what I was referring to. But anyway. Fun times. You know, there's nothing like going to play a game of pool with your good friend, and you get all lined up, and it's a very, very serious game of pool. And you get your shot lined up and get down close to the rail and close one eye and eyeing it up. And the damn ball is moving all around the damn table. And besides that, there's nothing but like waves in the table. And then you turn to happen to catch the clock on the wall, which would have been a Newport Cigarettes clock with the animated waterfall. Hey. I wasn't the one that watched the ceiling fan for about a half an hour, so I don't want to hear it. That was a fun night. That was one hell of a fun night. Anyway, let me get to the news before I say other self-incriminating things. Let's see. Almost half of Americans fear their money is unsafe in banks, says a poll. It says here, nearly half, 48% of Americans are concerned about the safety of their bank deposits, according to a Gallup poll conducted a month after the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank, a signature bank, and published on Thursday. Earlier this week, First Republic Bank became the third major U.S. financial institution to close its doors in 3 months, reigniting fears about the industry's stability. Almost a fifth, 19% of the 1,013 Americans polled said they were very worried about the fate of their finances, while another 29% were moderately worried. The largest faction were not too worried, 30%, and 20% were completely worry-free. The figures were similar to those reported by Gallup in 2008 following the collapse of Lehman Brothers, the investment bank considered too big to fail, whose demise touched off the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression. Republicans were more likely to voice concern about the safety of their money, with 55% reporting they were worried, compared to 51% of independents and just 36% of Democrats. These responses appeared to reflect individuals' feelings about the party in the White House, asked the same question in 2008 after Lehman Brothers collapsed under the Republican George W. Bush administration. Republicans were less likely, 34%, to worry than Democrats, 55%, or independents, 44%. Those numbers flipped just 3 months later after Democrat Barack Obama was elected president. Americans making less than $100,000 per year were slightly more likely to worry about whether their money was safe in the bank than those making more, 50% versus 40%, even though wealthier individuals' deposits would be more likely to exceed $250,000 covered by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. Citing these figures and the fact that college-educated respondents were less likely to be worried than those without a degree, Gallup hypothesized that worrying about whether one's bank accounts were safe was due to ignorance of the FDIC safety net, though the pollster acknowledged distrust in government might also be a factor. Nearly 200 American banks face similar risks to SVB and Signature, according to a recent paper from the Social Science Research Network. Former Lehman Brothers VP Lawrence McDonald was more conservative with his estimate of 50 banks poised for collapse, but warned that deposit guarantees would have to be increased to stabilize the sector. U.S. President Joe Biden has insisted there is nothing wrong with the country's banking sector, but promised to extend FDIC protection beyond the $250,000 cap if necessary. So, I think over a course of time, they've pretty much said it all. I think it's pretty safe to say that we're headed to a much darker place than 2008. And let's hope that it's not darker than the Great Depression. Do I think it could be? Yeah, I do. Because we're not just talking about a bad economy. We're not just talking about a stock market failing. We're talking about a complete and total currency reset. And if I'm not mistaken, that's kind of what happened during the Great Depression. You know, when we went off the gold standard and got the bullshit we have today. You know, fiat currency. That's rated on bullshit because it is directly related to consumer confidence, which is bullshit. I mean, it's not anything substantial. It's not anything firm. It's people saying, I feel good about money. I feel good about these pieces of paper that I'm holding. And it works. One hell of a Ponzi scheme if you think about it. They just keep giving you these bullshit pieces of paper, and you keep smiling, and yeah, sure, you go out and buy things, you can do things. But at the worst possible time, those pieces of paper will be useless. And I still say don't count on precious metals as being useful. Because once again, during the Great Depression, they went around and they collected the gold and the silver and anything else they wanted. You had no choice. I mean, you could hide it, but if they caught you, you were in some deep shit. And let's say you did successfully hide it and they didn't catch you. Well, you know, you couldn't even buy or sell gold here in the United States of America until the 70s. Until the 70s. So it's certainly not a get-rich-quick scheme. Not when you have to wait decades and decades before you can even dig it up and cash it in. Not saying don't get any precious metals or what have you. You do you, boo. Just don't count on it being useful again in your lifetime. And I know that might sound strange. I'm probably sure it sounded strange to individuals way back when as well. But the truth of the matter was, for all that time, all those decades, their gold essentially was worth nothing. Regardless of what the value of gold was at the time, they couldn't sell it, they couldn't do nothing with it. So, people need to be prepared for that. Because I think that there's at least a subset of individuals that kind of, as far as having stuff on hand, having supplies on hand, I think there's at least a faction of individuals that think, well, I'll have precious metals. I just got to have enough to get me a little past the hunt. Silver or gold to buy me anything I want. That may not be the case. May not be the case. Because if nobody else is going to be able to benefit from that gold, and in fact, if it is more of a liability than an asset, because if they would get caught with it, they're going to be in deep. Blue, quit. I take it, Blue sees a dog. But, getting all excited, heavy breathing over there. Oh, I see it. I see it. Anyway, just make sure you got the food, the supplies that you need. Don't count on being able to try to find stuff, come up with stuff after the fact. Make sure you're good to go before the fact. And if you want to hedge yourself for after the fact, that's fine. In fact, that's highly recommended. But don't expect at last minute, just because you have some gold or silver, that's going to get what you need. It may not. I bet it didn't back then. And I know to us that sounds so crazy, because most of us, gold's always been worth a lot of money. It's always been something big. Alrighty. Continuing on. U.S. financial turmoil not over, says an analyst. This here says the frailties of U.S. financial sector may be much more profound than bankers and policymakers suggest, an analyst told CNBC on Tuesday. The warning follows a wave of turmoil in regional U.S. banks. David Pierce, director of strategic initiatives at Utah-based GPS Capital Markets, raised questions over the way U.S. financial regulators are tackling problems faced by First Republic, the latest U.S. lender hit by deposit runs. If you listen to the political side of this, you would have them tell you that it really is a non-issue because it's all covered through the FDIC insurance. But money has to go into that, and they're insuring deposits well above what the insurance covers. And on the flip side of that, you look at the deal that J.P. Morgan and Jamie Dimon made, and they got a great deal in their purchase, the analyst told CNBC. Earlier this week, First Republic was seized by U.S. financial regulators and acquired by J.P. Morgan, the country's biggest financial institution. The San Francisco-based bank had previously received a $30 billion rescue shot from top Wall Street banks in the form of deposits. The sale of First Republic Bank followed massive deposit runs in March, which had caused two regional lenders, Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank, to fail within days. The same month, the U.S. Federal Reserve announced a new bank term funding program offering loans of up to a year in a bid to shore up confidence in the banking system and protect depositors at failing banks. Under the scheme, good name for it, both insured and uninsured depositors will receive full access to their money through a special fund of the FDIC. The regulator has also eased the terms of banks' access to its discount window. The U.S. Federal Reserve is expected to announce its latest decision on monetary policy on Wednesday. A series of rate increases, which began nearly a year ago, has so far exposed poor management in some smaller U.S. lenders, which were apparently caught by surprise by the sudden tightening of fiscal policy. So crazy. Oh, just wait. The last one that has to do with banks is a doozy. It's a doozy. But keep your tinfoil hats handy, because you might need it. U.S. banking crisis deepens. Regional lender PacWest Bancorp has become the latest American bank to be caught up in the worst crisis in the sector since 2008. The bank has confirmed it's in talks with potential partners and investors about strategic options following a 60% stock rout. Or is that root? I think it might be root. Shares in the bank nosedived after after-hours U.S. trading on Wednesday over reports the Los Angeles-based lender was mulling a sale. PacWest shares were down as much as 48% in early trading on Thursday. The bank has not experienced out-of-the-ordinary deposit flows following the sale of First Republic Bank and other news. PacWest stated on Wednesday, our cash and available liquidity remained solid and exceeded our uninsured deposits, it added. According to the lender, discussions with potential buyers and investors are ongoing, and the company will continue to evaluate all options to maximize shareholder value. People familiar with the matter told Bloomberg that PacWest has been considering a breakup or a capital raise. A buyer would potentially have to book a big loss, marking down some of the bank's loans, sources said. PacWest's Wednesday sell-off followed U.S. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell's announcement that authorities were closer to containing the turmoil that has gripped the banking sector. Powell claimed that the government's seizure and sale of struggling First Republic Bank to J.P. Morgan Chase was an important step toward drawing a line under that period of severe stress for regional lenders. First Republic became the fourth U.S. lender to collapse this year, following Silvergate Capital, Silicon Valley, and Signature Bank. Meanwhile, chief market analyst at KCM Trade, Tim Waterer, told Bloomberg that the Fed's statement offers little in way of confidence for the market. Despite the best efforts by Jerome Powell to calm the market, there is nothing left to suggest that the banking crisis is at an end, he claimed. And I'll tell you what, I think it's far from an end. I think it's far from an end. Now this next one, I don't want no satisfaction. And I tried. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm not. I'm not sorry. I'm not a damn bit sorry. Don't ever buy that. Hang on. I got things going bing and bopping, and I don't want no damn OneDrive bullshit. Stay off. Okay, we're good. It won't listen to me. It'll do whatever the hell it wants. Why? Because Bill Gates, son of a bitch. Anyway, next story, and let me tell you what, this is going to throw you. This is going to throw you. But I hope you got that tinfoil hat ready, because, J.P. Morgan on the hook for Epstein's trafficking, says the judge. Now, weren't we just talking about J.P. Morgan? I think we were just talking about J.P. Morgan. In fact, we talked about how they're the largest financial institution in the United States and how they're the ones that's stepping up and taking on these failed banks, at least one of these failed banks. They're stepping up and they're helping out and they're doing the right thing. Let's read here and then we'll discuss. Banking giant J.P. Morgan could be held liable to the victims of deceased predator Jeffrey Epstein if they show that Jess Staley, the bank's former head of asset management, something like that, ambulance, was personally aware Epstein was running a sex trafficking ring. U.S. District Judge Jed Rakoff revealed in court on Monday, explaining why he refused to dismiss the lawsuits against the bank. If the allegations and plaintiff's complaints are taken as true, Mr. Staley had actual first-hand knowledge that Epstein conducted a sex trafficking venture, Rakoff wrote. He probably, had some fringe benefits from it, to be honest. Ascribing Staley's knowledge to his employer, given his high position, Epstein's victims could show the bank either actually knew what the convicted sex offender was up to or recklessly disregarded the existence of his sordid dealings. J.P. Morgan sued Staley in March, claiming intentional and outrageous conduct and concealing the malignant nature of Epstein's character and activities from his employer. The financier not only swapped sexual suggestive emails with the well-heeled pervert, but sexually assaulted one of the other lawsuit's plaintiffs, a former ballet dancer, the bank alleges, stating Staley used aggressive force in his sexual assault of her while telling her he had Epstein's permission to do what he wanted to her. Now hold up. Put on your tinfoil hat. Now, a while back, we had this governor in the not-so-great state of Illinois. And, well, he was a typical piece of shit governor like we normally get here in Illinois. And he had some pay-to-play deal just like all them some bitches do. He didn't do anything different than what any of them do except he stepped on someone's toes. That's right. He had promised a position to someone that had already been promised to someone else. He promised someone a particular position in which Obama had already had promised to someone else. And Obama just became elected president at the time. So you see, he wound up getting charged and convicted of this pay-to-play scheme, and he wound up in prison. Blagojevich and I can't say his name right. And there's two ways I've heard it said, and I can't say it right either way. So there's that. Blagojevich. It's something like that, damn it. Anyway, so he got arrested. And it wasn't that he was doing anything out of the ordinary or anything like that. It was just that he stepped on some toes. He pissed off the wrong person. And so when I see stuff like this, and I see stuff like this Mr. Staley here, that's all I see is he pissed off the wrong person. Because I'll tell you what, you think that's the only sumbitch in that organization that's involved in that kind of stuff, that's aware of that kind of stuff, and that's actively doing that kind of stuff? You are as naive as it gets. That you don't have to put a tinfoil hat on for. This next one, you might. What's to say, we got this government that loves this Hegelian dialectic. And What's to say we're not going to continue to have bank failures? And, well, J.P. Morgan Chase, well, they're just the big guy on the block, so they're going to step up and they're just going to absorb them. Good deal. Government steps up, they scratch J.P. Morgan's back, and everything's well. Until the chickens come home to roost. And people in the financial institution start to go down for some of this Epstein activity. And well, that's our only major bank left because all of these others failed, and there's only going to be one option. Only going to be one option left on the table, and that's to nationalize the banking system. Told you needed a tinfoil hat. But that doesn't mean it's not a possibility. But keep your eyes out. This, I find that's very interesting. Because the only way you're ever going to see anything remotely done involving the Epstein stuff is when they're going after someone for some type of inside bullshit. That's it. You won't ever see any action taken in any other way because it's the some bitches at the top that's a part of it. There is no loyalty with evil. None. And this is the last tab I have open. Thought it was kind of an interesting article. I'll read a little bit of it. I'll run through the headlines and we'll get out of here and so I can get stuff done. Anyway, time to say goodbye to the British Crown, says Jamaican minister. Jamaican me what? The Jamaican government will introduce a bill next month to sever the country's ties with British monarchy, possibly removing King Charles as the head of state by 2024, Legal and Constitutional Minister Marlene Malahoo Forte told Sky News on Thursday. While the United Kingdom is celebrating the coronation of the king, that is for the United Kingdom, Malahoo Forte told Sky. Jamaica is looking to write a new constitution, which will sever ties with the monarch as our head of state. My government is saying we have to do it now, she continued, adding that for Jamaicans it's time to say goodbye to the British Crown. Malahoo Forte explained that her government will follow King Charles III's coronation this weekend by introducing a bill aimed at making Jamaica a republic. It could take around 9 months to pass and would be followed by a referendum giving the Jamaican people the final say on breaking away from the UK. A recent poll has found that majorities in almost half of British Commonwealth countries, including Jamaica, would vote to become republics if given the opportunity. A British colony since 1655, Jamaica was granted independence in 1962. Jamaican political leaders at the time rejected republicanism in favor of becoming a Commonwealth realm with the Queen Elizabeth II as head of state. Successive Jamaican governments have promised to replace the monarch with a president, but all have either been defeated by pro-Commonwealth opponents or left office before fulfilling their promise. Although most Jamaicans now favor republicanism, many had warm affection and identified with Queen Elizabeth II, Malahoo Forte told Sky. But they do not identify with King Charles. He is as foreign as it gets to us, plain and simple. Others view the monarchy as a source of stability, with some elderly Kingston residents telling the British broadcaster that the Jamaican public aren't ready to rule themselves. So, in my next announcement, I'm going to be moving to Jamaica. I wish now would be the time. No, well, maybe. Maybe not. Maybe you might want to wait until the ink's dry on all that first, because, Jamaica could wind up having the shit freedomed out of them. You know how that goes. Anyway, so Jamaica turns to Haiti. Right. Just wait until the U.S. or somebody else freedoms the hell out of them and turns them into Venezuela. Crazy. All right. Not so fun time. Nicotine. Nicotine, you're in my dreams. Well, we could write a country song, right? Make a mixtape, half rap, half country, just one, put one engineer on each side of the cassette. Yeah, cassette, man. We're a mixtape, man. You can't no bullshit digital. That's not a tape. Hell no. Go get yourself a Walkman. Nothing to sound good on digital files. Nothing will replace the sound of a record. That's a fact. But I'm glad that cassettes and even CDs died. Well-deserved death. Especially for all of them I had to replace. Alright. We're here to do news or something, I think. I don't know. Ukrainian counteroffensive will have deplorable consequences, says Moscow. Nice choice of words there. Talking to Hillary much? German consumers spending less. U.S. had no prior knowledge of Kremlin drone strikes, says Politico. U.S. has no guts to condemn drone attack on Kremlin, says Envoy. Second overnight drone incident at Russian refinery, says authorities. Moscow accuses West of fueling sense of impunity in Kiev. Brazilian police raid Bolsonaro's home. Ukraine helpless against Russian smart bombs, says an official. Air France seeks level playing field with Chinese rivals, says Bloomberg. F-16 shipment to Taiwan delayed, says minister. Ukrainian troops tortured and killed prisoners, says ex-German soldier. Russia committed to major oil production cuts. Says Novak. EU state looking to outlaw pro-Russian views. Talking parrot reveals man's dirty secret. He was having an affair. Dumbass. U.S. banking crisis deepens. I'm not necessarily calling him a dumbass because glass houses and shit. But I'm calling him a dumbass because he did it in front of a parrot. Dumbass. Let's see. Washington responsible for attack on Kremlin, says Moscow. Intel points to Kiev and Kremlin drone strike, says Moscow. So it's at Washington or Kiev. Make up my mind. Report details CIA's alleged color revolution efforts. How about the black and white efforts? Would-be Putin killers will be punished, says Moscow. In fact, not even. How about some pastel colors, right? Can we get some pastel colors in our color revolution? Russia boosts infantry vehicle production, says Rostec. Billionaire buys Epstein's Islands. Now, he's supposedly going to put, really, really luxury resorts there. But let me ask you something. Doesn't that sound a little dark to you? Would you be willing to go stay at a resort to where you know hundreds of children were sexually assaulted? Would you stay at a resort knowing that? That's insane. That's insane. Do you know what they need to do with Epstein's Islands? That needs to be the location of the next nuclear bomb test. That's what they need to do to those islands. Not selling it at a premium so that rich people can continue to get their jollies off. Because I was born at night, but not last night. Not whatsoever. Something just, I couldn't imagine who would think it would be okay to go and stay there. I really can't. China reacts to drone raid on Kremlin. Italian FM cancels trip to France after insults from Paris. China reacts to reports of NATO office in Japan. Putin compares Russian and Western debt. Germany makes surprising admission on COVID-19 mask mandate. Ex-Russian president blasts Borrell over Kremlin attack comment. Bin Laden Operation Hero slams U.S. Navy over drag queen. Sweden adopts new anti-terrorism law in effort to secure NATO bid. Ukraine labels EU bank sponsor of war. Frenchman prosecuted for attempted high-speed escape into Russia. Opposition mayor arrested in Ukraine. German police investigate media that reported Zelensky plans. Proud Boys leaders found guilty of January 6 conspiracy. Orban endorses Trump for White House return. U.S. presidential candidate condemns Kremlin drone attack. Israel claims Iran can make nuclear bombs. Turkish opposition is gay, says Erdogan. Well, that's, that's hitting below the belt. Pun intended. Anyway. I covered that one. Most Germans feel negative about immigration, says state TV poll. Let's see. Ukraine admits shooting down own drone over Kiev. Dumbasses. EU state vows to prevent sanctions on Russian nuclear energy industry. And that's it. That is the heady lines. Fun times, I'm telling you. Hey, I actually did get done kind of quick tonight. Alright, well, I'm going to take advantage of that and get these gummies started. And then, gonna be fun times. Gonna, take me forever just to get 9 holes because I suck. But anyway, it's fun. I'm going to get out of here. I hope you all have a good weekend. God willing, we'll be back Sunday. I hope to see you then. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.